Hello everybody, it's me Nate aka Devil Dog, and we're back. It's another year, 2024, and welcome back to Devil Dog Gaming. I hope you, your friends, and family had a safe and happy holiday season, a Merry Christmas, and a safe, happy New Year. But we've always had a tradition here at Devil Dog Gaming that once we came back from our short hiatus, we always have one of our favorite times of the year where I look back and pick the games of last year that were good and bad. This, of course, is my top 10 worst games of 2023. Now, keep in mind, these are games I've actually played. Now, there are some games that aren't on my list because I did not play them, and that's why they're not here. And I decided to mix it up a bit and have a couple little extra ones thrown in at the end as well. Make it a little bit different, add a little bit more flavor to the pot, so to say. But this is my top 10 worst games of 2023.
Number 10. Developed by Infinity Ward and Treyarch and published by Activision, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 isn't a bad game. In fact, I think it's actually one of the better ones, with some nice abilities for you to pull older weapons over from your previous game, even though you really can't upgrade them with a damn. But this whole reason why it made it to number 10 on my list is because of its campaign mode. The campaign mode in this is such a joke. It's such a laughing stock that they made fun of it at the Video Game Awards, and the big hashtag, it was like, well, it was longer than Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3's campaign mode, and that's why it's made it to my top 10 worst games of 2023. It's not because it's a bad game at all. In fact, it's great. I love the extraction mode and the zombie mode. It's just that when you take no time and no effort to make a campaign mode in a game, let's just say it made it to be the laughing stock, and it really is for what it is. Number 9. Developed by Ascendant Studios and published by EA, Immortals of Aveum actually wasn't really that bad at first, until you end up playing it and realizing it's nothing more than a very slow, sloggy, first-person shooter, but instead of guns, you're shooting magic. And while it may have had some nice ideas, the overall structure of the game world, the plot, the fact of the characters' development, which is pretty much from nothing to full-blown in like less than an hour's tops into the game. Honestly, this game could have been so much better, but it just comes off as just generic bottom basement, boring first-person shooter with some pretty decent ideas with the magic, but it just didn't go all the way. It didn't get fleshed out all the way. The game world didn't get fleshed out all the way, and the main character just really wasn't that well liked. And that's why it landed on my top 10 games at number 9 for the worst games of 2023. Number 8. That's right, Starfield, Bethesda's best known. I'm sorry, if you love Starfield, that's perfectly acceptably fine, but this is just another Bethesda jank fest. However can you make a game that is so barren and lifeless, and yet so large? There's so many sections of you just exploring these empty, generated areas that just aren't fun, and you layer that on top of the classic janky Bethesda wheel of picking different choice options of these Muppet looking characters. They're just not that good looking. I'm sorry, Starfield is in fact Fallout in space, but I would rather go back and play Fallout any day of the week, because this is just overly bloated, and honestly this was just a travesty right from the start, and honestly it's just not that good of a game, people. Look, it's got mostly negative reviews now across the board, and that's for a reason. It really is a reason. Number 7. Developed by Starbreeze Studios and published by Deep Silver, Payday 3 is a fantastic game that I never got to play, and the reason why is because of Starbreeze Studios. Their stupid setup of having to have a password to link your profile with them is all well and done and fine, but go back and check out my Payday 3 rant if you want to know why it made it on my list at number 7. Seriously, the fact of the matter is, I'd love to play this game, but I can't, because you can't create a new character profile to sync it up to your account, and you can't change change your friggin' password. At least you couldn't when I tried playing this. I don't know if they've updated it since then, but I don't know and I don't care because I got pissed off with Payday and because of Starbreeze Studios and their lack of giving the ability for you to actually change your password to make it where you can play the damn game. And that's why it landed at number 7 at my top 10 games of 2023 that were the worst, the freaking worst. Number 6. Developed by Bamtang Games and published by Game Mill Entertainment, you're going to hear that name a lot, is Avatar, The Last Airbender, The Quest for Balance. Now, first of all, yes, this is a kid's game, but it's not a good kid's game. It's this weird isometric yet side-scrolling type game that is very clunky, very crappy. It plays like crap. It looks like crap. The cutscenes are really hardly any of them are animated. There's very little voiceover work. And honestly, while this probably isn't one of the worst Avatar The Last Airbender games, it's definitely a piece of crap. And you'll probably notice that a lot of games that are pieces of crap on here come from Game Mill. But yeah, that's why this, while it isn't really the worst game out there, it still landed pretty high, a decent number 6 on my top 10 worst games of 2023. Please, people, do not buy this for your kids and do not play this game. Number 5. Developed by Arcane Studios and published by Bethesda, Redfall originally started out as something that people were really looking forward to. It sounded great on paper, playing like a ragtag bunch of people going and fighting against vampires and other monsters sounded really fun, until you started playing it and you realized after about 4 minutes you played the entire game and it's just not that good. It's not that deep. The characters really kind of aren't that well liked. I didn't like any of the development in it. It didn't really have too many good cutscenes that weren't really animated. The vampires were just stupid. I mean, you could just go around and killing them, and honestly this is such a shame, especially from a development studio like Arcane Studios, which is well known for making top tier games. Even they admitted that this was just not good at all, and honestly that's why it landed at number 5 at my top 10 worst games of 2023, right in the middle there. It's kind of functional sometimes. Number 4. Developed by Luminous Productions and published by Square Enix, Forspoken was a disaster right from the start. The main reason is the wokeness of it, the overall character development. No one likes this character. This main character is the most annoying, whiny, stupid character of all. I mean, seriously, talk about cringe-worthy moments. You can look up some of the worst cringe-worthy moments of this game. And honestly, the game world itself actually had some nice ideas behind it, especially the traversal system and getting around was cool, but the actual gameplay itself was mundane, very monotonous. The level designs were not that impressive at all, and the character was so unlikable, and the plot was so much garbage, it led to Square Enix actually closing down Luminous Productions. Honestly, it was all in all just a disaster right from the start till the very end, and that's why this one lands kind of high on my list at number 4 for my worst games of 2023. Oh my god, please don't play this game. Number 3. Developed by In-Game Studios and published by 505 Games, Crime Boss Rockay City obviously is another one of those games that sounded great at first until you realize the actual gameplay itself is a unmelodramatic, terrible first-person shooter with some slight aspects thrown in of permadeath. But the problem is, it seems like they took the whole budget and used it to buy and pay money for all this voice talent. I mean, they got everybody from Chuck Norris, they got Danny Glover, they got Ice Cube, they got Vanilla Ice, they have Michael Madsen, they have all these people in it, but you can tell because of that, the game itself didn't get the right time to be built, it didn't get the right time to grow and actually be baked properly, so you have like $5 million worth of voice talent and a 99-cent bargain basement game. And in the end, it's just terrible. It plays like shit and it looks like shit. And that's why it's number 3 on my worst games of 2023. Number 2. Developed by Iguana Bee and published by Game Mill Entertainment, it's Skull Island: The Rise of Kong. I know you people probably gonna be like, really, Nathan, this isn't your number one? Well, here's the reason why. This poor company of Iguana Bee was given 2 shit sticks and 9 months to fucking make a game from the ground up. They had no game engine, they had no assets, they had nothing. Game Mill bought the rights of King Kong and said, here, make a King Kong game. So they were forced to actually slapdash together a game as best they could. Well, hell, it even has like placeholder screenshots in it. The enemies float over the ground. There's only like 2 moves. The graphics look like ass. The gameplay is terrible. There's no really non-existent sort of plot. Honestly, this has to be like one of the worst games up there, but it did not make the top of my list. It only landed at number 2 of my top 10 worst games of 2023 because at least the team behind it at least tried to make a game. Honorable mentions. Developed by Flux Games and published by Game Mill Entertainment, Walking Dead Destinies had an idea behind it that might have been sound if maybe somebody like Telltale made it, but not Game Mill Studios publishing it. It's always going to be crap. I mean, think about it. It had a good idea. What if you went back in time in the Walking Dead series and changed key moments? Like, let's say, you have it to where, Glenn doesn't get killed or Michonne don't meet up with Rick. Stuff like that could have been done so well, but the graphics are so terrible, the gameplay is so god-awful, and the fact that the cutscenes are so laughably, jokingly bad, where it's just like a hand-drawn image of a character just sitting there with the voice acting where they sound nothing like the characters. Hands down, Walking Dead Destinies is an absolute abysmal failure, coming from another failed group of games from Game Mill Entertainment. They're nothing but garbage, really. Lord of the Rings Golem from Dead Lake Entertainment. This game actually has been a top 10 worst game of 2023 for a lot of people, and I decided against it because of the fact that, yes, it is terrible. Hands down, it is garbage through and through. Everything from the way it originally looked and the way it finally looked when it was released, and the fact that it's nothing more than a really sucky-ass stealth simulator with some crappy climbing mechanics thrown in with Gollum that just looks so god-awful. And in fact, this game was so bad, the company closed. They went bankrupt. They went under. They're no longer. And I'm glad. I mean, I feel bad for people that actually worked hard on making this. But yeah, like I said, this didn't make it in my top 10, but it definitely made it as an honorable mention just because of how much of a shit show sandwich this game was from start to finish. It does make sense to be in the top 10 game, but not on my list. No, but it's still really, really bad. Silent Hill Ascension, developed by Genvid and published by Konami. What in the hell is this? I am a huge fan of the Silent Hill franchise, always have been, but this is nothing more than a gotcha grab your cell phone game where you would watch some really crappy short bits of a CGI movie of these characters in a Silent Hill universe that you don't care about, and then you could vote to actually make it to where they change the decisions and to make the outcomes different for each of these characters, but none of the characters are likable. Nobody likes these characters, and the fact that it's nothing more than a money-grubbing bullshit fest where it consisted of a bunch of little mini games you had to play in order to earn points to be able to vote, to swing the vote. So you could have a couple whales get on here, dump several $1,000s and buy the votes and actually make it to where they can have the ending of the game turn out any way that they choose. Hands down, this is just another abomination for Konami, and God, I wish they would just stop it, stop it, stop it. Number 1. Published and developed by Team Kill Media, Quantum Error has to be hands down one of the worst games I've played all year. It screams nothing but asset flips in every single thing, from the character models, the enemies, the overall game world itself. The gunplay is so floaty and so crappy. There is no kickback on the guns. The plot is just archaic, over-the-top bullshit about this firefighter and all this weird stuff that happens along along the way. And my God, I'm probably going to get death threats for this, because that's the other thing, is the fan base of this game. If you say anything bad about Quantum Error, the fan base goes after you. But I have to say that this, hands down, is one of the worst games I've played all that year, all of last year. And honestly, my personal number one game for worst games of 2023 is in fact Quantum Error. Stay away from this piece of shit.
And there you have it, people. My top 10 list, top 13 list, actually, of the worst games of 2023. Once again, like I said, if it didn't make it on the list and you're wondering why certain games weren't there, like the day before, stuff like that, there's certain games I've never played. So therefore, they didn't make it on my list. And yes, I know my list has kind of some odd ones on there. I wanted to mix it up a bit because I felt there were several ones that kind of got too much flack, while others didn't get enough. Nonetheless, I have to say I absolutely hate game mail entertainment, but nonetheless, that's personally my own opinion. Please leave your top 10 worst games of 2023 list in the comments below. Do you agree or disagree with my list? Were there some out there that threw you for a loop? Are there some reasons why you can't believe they didn't make it on the list to begin with? Are there some that you didn't think were the worst game of the year? Nonetheless, this was just my opinion, my top 10, my top 13 actually, of the games that I thought were the worst of last year. Please give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Please subscribe to my channel. Leave lots of comments so I can answer each and every single one of them. And of course, here at Devil Dog Gaming, we always end our videos by saying, have fun, play hard, and remember, people, the devil is in the details. Peace out until my next video. Gee, I wonder when it'll be.